We're in a negative routine, stuck in a rut, not expecting things to change. We've gone through disappointments, had setbacks. Now we've lowered our expectations, watered down our dreams. We let what hasn't worked out be an excuse to settle where we are.
Pay attention to what's coming up in your mind as that self-talk behind it. Are you fully endorsing that belief? And are you starting to go to socials or go online or join some groups or matchmaking, this or that? I don't know what's out there, what people do today. But are you doing that? Or are you not taking any action at all because you're starting to think, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too whatever. And all the good ones are taken. These are limiting beliefs. And when we become aware of them, then we can move into questioning them and erasing them.
You cannot attract thin from I hate being fat. Because if what you think about is what expands, and what you're thinking about is hating being fat, then hating being fat is what you will continue to manifest. You act upon what you think about. You cannot attract prosperity from an inner consciousness that says, I hate being poor, I despise being poor. Because if you despise being poor, if you're angry about being poor, then being angry about being poor or despising it is what you will continue to act upon, and you'll be able to say, see? Now it gets worse. You cannot manifest what you want if your attention is on what is. If your attention is on what is and the circumstances of your life, that's where your thoughts are, then you will continue to create what is into your life. You've got to figure out a way to get your mental images, your energy, your attention, your higher awareness off of what is and onto what you want. And every time your thoughts are on what is, you shift it to what do I want?
At the end of the day, all those things in your head that seem like you could never get over them, you've made them up. You've decided to obsessively focus on those things. And as Oprah said, what we dwell on is who we become. And think about that for a second. Think about today. Just audit your thoughts. What did you spend your time thinking on? Did you obsessively think about the way that things could go right? Or did you obsessively think about the things that could go wrong?
Studies made of the lives of literally thousands of successful people have shown that they radiate confidence, assurance. They expect success, and they get success. You can spot these people by the way they walk, by the way they look and act. You can feel it about them when they enter a room. They may be short and fat, or tall and thin, or any combination in between. But they have about them the attitude of success. The easiest and most effective means of forming a good attitude habit is to begin to act as though you have a good, positive, expectant attitude toward life. That's right. Begin right now to walk, act, and look as though you belong to this group. If you're already in the top 5%, you'll know what I mean. If you've never tried it, you'll be amazed at what happens. Actions trigger feelings, just as feelings trigger actions.
Most of us are just driven by our conscious mind. We're listening to our thoughts, as we mentioned earlier. Most of us think we are our thoughts. Most of us think our thoughts are the only things that we have in terms of choice. So the thought comes in, we obey the thought, and our life just keeps stuck. We're just cycling through the same old problems. For most people, it's a relationship problem. Another person might have a health problem. Another person a financial problem. Each person seems to specialize in a particular block, and they keep cycling through it. They get a little break, then they have the problem again. They get a little break, they have the problem again. And it isn't until there's a wake up, and maybe it is for some people today, and they look within and go, well, maybe it's me. Maybe there's something in me that's running, a program that's running that is creating and recreating and rerunning the very same problem, especially when it's different for each person. We've each got a different program, so it keeps running there. That's the first level, is to realize there's something deeper.
The moment that you catch yourself being distracted, the moment you catch yourself starting to worry, the moment you catch yourself drifting to the future or drifting to the past, that's a moment of tremendous power, because you basically just woke up. You basically just noticed that you're not here in this particular moment. So use that wake-up call, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and ground yourself in this moment. The best way to ground yourself in the moment is to look for something in this particular moment that you can savor. Now, I'm using the word savor on purpose because it's the word that psychologists use to describe what happens when you find something in this moment right now, right here, right now, to focus on and to appreciate.
So if loving yourself is going to move you towards your goals, then we're going to do it, even if you don't think that you're worth it. If pushing to grow and get better is going to move you towards your goals, then we're going to do it, even if it doesn't feel like you deserve it. You have to let go of that in order to get to your goals. And now, as long as your goal is exciting and honorable, why would you ever want to do something that holds you back? If you're doing something that elevates yourself and other people, why would you want to stop yourself from doing that, even if you deserve to be punished or whatever it is that you think about yourself because of what happened in the past? It doesn't make sense. Free yourself from that. Allow yourself to contribute to yourself and others. Contribute as big and aggressively as you want, as you possibly can.
To notice its pointlessness, its untruths, to notice that you don't want it because you don't want it. When you notice it, you are the awareness, and you as the awareness don't want it. The pain body wants it. So the awareness has to come in so that you break the link between your pain body and your thought processes. That is the key, is to sever the link between your thought processes and the pain body. In order to sever the link between those, there needs to be enough awareness, presence. Only the presence can sever the link. The presence comes in, and so you no longer, the emotion is no longer controlling your thought activity. That's the key, and that's the beginning of the end.
Your goal is to be happy, confident, and optimistic. The way that you achieve this is by making these positive responses so automatic that you remain predominantly happy, confident, and optimistic, no matter what happens. You can achieve this result by taking specific, proven, practical steps that have been used by millions of people and which work with virtually unfailing certainty. The starting point is accepting complete responsibility for every aspect of your life. You demonstrate this attitude of responsibility by exerting your freedom to choose the thoughts you wish to hold in your conscious mind. You choose to think positive, constructive thoughts rather than negative, destructive thoughts. Psychologists refer to this as the cognitive control method. Cognitive control simply means that you control your thoughts, keep them positive, and repeat positive messages to yourself over and over until they become automatic responses to daily life. The first mental fitness technique is that of positive self-talk, or the use of positive affirmations. The way you talk to yourself has an inordinate impact on your thinking and feeling. Many researchers, including Dr. Martin Seligman of the University of Pennsylvania, have discovered that high-performing men and women talk to themselves differently from low-performing men and women. Basically, your self-talk or your inner dialogue determines the tone of your emotional life. You are happy or sad, positive or negative, depending on what you say to yourself and how you interpret events to yourself as you go along. For example, if you are cut off in traffic and you immediately become angry and begin thinking about how stupid and irresponsible and what a bad driver the other person is, you will trigger a very different reaction than if, when you are cut off in traffic, you excuse the other person by thinking to yourself that he or she must be late, distracted, or must not have seen you. It may be exactly the same external event, but the way you interpret it and your ensuing conversation with yourself will determine whether you experience positive or negative emotions about the situation. The starting point of using positive self-talk is to interpret everything that happens to you in a favorable way. Become what W. Clement Stone called an inverse paranoid. Imagine that the whole world is in a giant conspiracy to help you to be successful and happy. Imagine that everything that happens is happening to teach you something valuable and to move you closer to achieving your most important goals. Just as a paranoid is convinced that there is a conspiracy against him, an inverse paranoid is convinced that there is a conspiracy for him or her. Practice the wonderful mental quality of serendipity. In the fairy tale, the three princes of Serendip traveled around finding that every apparently negative or calamitous event they witnessed turned out to be positive and beneficial in the end. Make it a game to look for the good in every situation. The law of expectation says that whatever you expect with confidence becomes your own self-fulfilling prophecy. When you develop an attitude of positive self-expectancy, you become a more optimistic and cheerful person. Whatever happens, you immediately interpret it in the best way possible. In Napoleon Hill's famous book, Think and Grow Rich, he wrote that one of the characteristics of the most successful men and women in America is that they always look for the opportunity or benefit within every setback or obstacle. Because of the law of substitution, if you are looking into every difficult situation for the lesson you can learn or for the possible opportunity it might contain, your mind will remain positive and you will continue to function at your best. Whenever you think of an upcoming event, talk to yourself in positive language. Perhaps the most powerful affirmation of all for building self-confidence is for you to repeat over and over, 50, 100 times per day, the words, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. These simple words are the verbal antidote to the fear of failure, which, as you know, is the great destroyer of self-confidence and probably the primary reason for failure in adult life. However, you can diminish the fear of failure in any situation by repeating, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Whenever you think of an event that causes you to feel nervous or insecure, whenever you have something coming up that fills you with trepidation, exert your powers of self-talk and self-suggestion by saying, I can do it, to cancel out and override any negative emotions associated with it. The most powerful affirmation for building self-esteem are the words, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. These simple words, repeated often enough with energy and enthusiasm, will eventually be accepted by your subconscious mind. As your subconscious mind accepts this message of self-liking, your self-esteem goes up and your ability to perform and your levels of effectiveness improve in every area of your life. If you want to do your work better, just say, I love my job, I love my job, I love my job, in their best-selling book, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. Clement Stone and Napoleon Hill recommend that you repeat several times a day the words, I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific. One of my favorite affirmations, whenever I'm worried about anything, is to cancel it by saying, I believe in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life. I believe in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life. You will find that it is almost impossible to worry and fret about anything while you are repeating this kind of positive message to yourself.